Howdy, friends. Each week, I'll make a short little video that's sent out that's included in my emails to kind of give you some background information on the lesson that you'll be doing with your kiddos at home, and also to go over the lesson briefly and talk about maybe some things to look out for as you're going through it. So this is the lesson we'll be covering first for the month of October. This one's focused on the Bible. It's very much talking about the things that we talked about in our in-parent session, going in depth on what is the genre or what type of book are you reading when you look at the Bible, because that's so important for a correct interpretation. This first note, this top information right here is background information, so I really encourage you to read this before you jump into the lesson with your kiddo, and then you'll notice that the actual lesson will begin around here. This is kind of like their textbook. It's got the information, you can say, and you can read it with them. They can read it by themselves, they can read it together, or you could read it yourself and have a conversation with them, however it works for you and your family. Now, as you go through, they will be talking about the different types of books that exist in the Bible, and it's really important to realize that the Bible is not just one book. It's really a library. There's 73 books in the Bible, and they come from different time, different cultures, different genres of literature, from historical narratives all the way to poetry and wisdom literature. So there's different types of books, and as you read them, you'll go through each one. As they discuss the different types of books throughout the lessons, the activity is going to be going through and placing the different types of genres into their respective spot. So you could do this after you go through the material, or you may want to do it as you're going along, where you could read one and try to figure out what genre it is. And then you'll utilize these two activities, one per kid. So this is the list of the books, and then this is the kind of the map where, upside down, where they will be placing the different sets in there. Now, when you cut them out, you'll cut out the entire section. That's one whole one, and you'll place that kind of on the shelf, you could say, of what type of books they were in the Bible. For your older saints, so I would say the third and fourth graders, and if you have a second grader who wants to go a little bit deeper, you could as well. You'll notice that this gray part says, for older saints, and this is going a little bit deeper in terms of the material. Now, this is going to discuss that Scripture is not the only type of revelation that we get from God. That Scripture and tradition, capital T tradition, is another way that God has revealed himself to us. And it says that sacred traditions are things that were said and taught orally, that were passed down from generation to generation. But even before Scripture was recorded, or before the Bible was commonly read, you got to think that most people in the early centuries of AD couldn't read; they weren't literate, and books weren't prevalent like they are today. Every manuscript had to be hand copied one by one by one. So the Bible wasn't around in the very beginning of Christianity. If it was very limited. People were taught orally. So the Mass and things from the Church Fathers, these are sacred tradition, truths of our faiths, and the doctrines of our church that have been affirmed through church councils. The Bible itself was not completely put together and recognized which books were canon until the late 4th century. So the Bible itself is a product of sacred tradition. So and God has revealed himself to us through Scripture, tradition, and those are both authentically interpreted by the magisterium of the church for a correct interpretation. So this is how we kind of understand Scripture, and I hope you have a great first lesson with your kiddos, and they can understand that not only is the Bible a library of books, but each of these books are combined together, come from different genres, and understanding what that genre is so vital to understanding and interpreting what the Scripture text is teaching us today. Keep making those saints. God bless.